Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And it seems like they're going after free speech and Infowars. They're finally trying to shut it down.
Well, not finally. They've been trying to do that for a while.
Well, they've been trying to do it, and it's been a hangover from the last administration, and somehow it seems like it may be pushed through, even though he's on the good side of this administration. So we're going to get into that, but all this week and probably next week, we're transitioning studios, so we were out late today trying to move things to the new studio. That's why we have such the odd time today. Yes. But if you're not subscribed, please do so. We're literally 3 subscribers away from being partially monetized. So it would be a big help if you're not subscribed yet to subscribe.
Yes. And Rafa says hello. So hello, Rafa. Thank you for being here. I know I did cancel my Spanish show, but it will go on tomorrow. So we have time to actually do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, we had some guys bust a hole in the wall of our new place by accident today. So we were there kind of late.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get right into Alex Jones, though.
Yes. So from Rex, it says, sadly, it seems like Free Speech Systems, otherwise known as Infowars, has received its execution after 2 years in federal bankruptcy court and a fake auction. Highest bidder didn't receive the assets. The political prosecution is finally complete. The stay has been lifted. Last time this happened, they illegally stormed the building, cut off the internet, and The Onion gloatingly took over our website and mounted the metaphysical head of Infowars on their wall. I'm so proud of the 31 years of excellence and to have been a small part in the birthplace of the alternative media. This is not over. Perhaps one day there will be justice. We can hope.
Yeah, it's not quite shut down yet, but if it does shut down, it has been a fantastic run. I absolutely love Alex Jones. He's finally getting the recognition from the mainstream, which he has deserved for a long time. And even if Infowars dies, Alex Jones will have a hell of a career ahead of him. The problem is the largest settlement in civil history was awarded against him, which was $1 billion. So he'll never make any profit, but it's not necessarily about profit for Alex Jones at this point.
And just the fact that he existed in the first place, I think he, alongside Rush Limbaugh, but him in particular, Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh, nowadays, they were the building blocks of alternative media and of other people starting things like the Post Millennial, like the Daily Wire, like everything else we see nowadays that otherwise we would have had Fox News, MSNBC, CBC, CBN, NBC, all of the C's and B's. Yeah. So it is good. And I think everybody owes him a debt of gratitude. And I don't think he'll go away. But losing something you worked for 31 years so hard for and fought for so long is sad.
Well, and he did have conservative backers behind him, and they had that auction. They said it was going to go to the highest bidder, and the conservatives were the highest bidder, yet they gave it to somebody else, which was The Onion. The whole thing was crooked at the time. The settlement against him was crooked. I was just watching my video back today that I made way back when the Alex Jones trial was going on, and I was green. I did not like talking in front of the camera. I wasn't very good, but hell, I made the set look good, so I was happy about that.
That one is on our original channel, which is Nat and The Guy in Español.
And yeah, Nat and The Guy in Español used to be our English channel, so some of the original content is when we first went on the internet.
But your first solo video was Alex Jones and this whole dispute, and that just proves how important it was and how long it's been, because that was 3 years ago?
Oh,
4 years ago?
Yeah, it was quite a while ago.
Yeah, but let's watch it from the man himself, I guess.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Just the first little bit. From Alex Jones, breaking update, federal judge greenlights shutdown of Infowars. Alex Jones fires a bat signal on what could potentially be the end of an era, but never forget, no matter what happens, Infowar never dies because you are the Infowar. Let's see.
Well, this is quite a moment for us here.
Turn down a little bit.
We've held out for many years against the deep state and the system attacking us, and the federal judge that has been presented with all the corruption, all the fake auctions, all the fraud he's admitted that happened, just about 45 minutes ago said, hey, you can, the stay's lifted, you can seize Infowars. And so they don't want money. It's all an appeal anyways. They want to destroy it. They say in the news, we want to shut him down. That's our mission. Then they also say he won't give us money. He has hidden money, which isn't true. So it's the most deceptive garbage run by the Democrats, the DOJ previously. The current DOJ had an investigation going. Their idea, Ed Martin, it's cut and dry, the documents. That got killed last week by the deputy attorney general who really runs things. And That's where we are in the year 2025. So I'm going to go to break here for a moment. And then I'm going to go with Harrison Smith and get more details of this. But it's been the fraud and the corruption and the stalking and the lies to shut us down. Obviously, it's me they want to silence and the guests and what we do here.
Okay.
And now the whole.
Okay, and I will say this: Owen Schroyer and Alex Jones parted ways a few weeks ago, and not nicely. I wish Owen Schroyer would have stuck there to the end. There was no way of knowing that this was going to come through at this point in time. Maybe they can reconcile. I don't know, but hopefully.
And I mean, I do think the voice and Alex Jones's voice will continue to be heard. And he probably still can do something else.
Well, because he can't make any profit, it's going to be very interesting if he just goes around working for other people, going on other people's show. He can do anything he wants when he has no way to make money, because everything he makes goes directly to those families. And I think an unjustified civil case at the time. That being said, in Texas, he is allowed to keep his house and other things. So he's financially secure to a point. He just can't make any future earnings. So it's going to be very interesting, because you don't really see anybody else that isn't allowed to make profit. So Alex Jones has a very special voice now in the alternative and mainstream media spaces. I would like to see him kind of get welcome into the mainstream, maybe. Okay.
And Rafa says, what do you know about what caused this? I haven't researched about Blandy Blux. That's how I have to say it.
Yeah, the Biden administration kind of went after him. They said he slandered the families of a school shooting and caused distress to them. That wasn't the case. If you watch the trial, it was a complete hoax trial. They wouldn't even allow Alex Jones to say he was innocent. The judge found him guilty before the trial even happened. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. And the trial went forward. They had cameras in the courtroom. The trial was just to decide how big the settlement was going to be. They said Alex Jones didn't turn over his phone records, which he did turn over his phone records. He could even prove he turned over his phone records. But they also said he didn't turn over emails, which he then again did. That being said, this was a witch hunt and a political show trial from the Biden administration the whole way through.
Yes, it was essentially a show of force, and I mean, who better for them to use Alex Jones?
Well, and the reason it went through, they picked the district it would go through in. So I can't remember the exact district. It may have been New York or Washington. It's usually one of those two districts where it's 95% Democrat, and they knew they were going to get a conviction by a jury.
Yes. And also sad news, and you added this one in, from Marinalfa, breaking legendary conservationist Jane Goodall passes away at 91. Jane Goodall, the trailblazing primatologist who transformed human understanding of chimpanzees, has passed away at 91. The Goodall Institute said she passed of natural causes while in California on a U.S. speaking tour. Her decades of fieldwork in Tanzania redefined conservation and inspired global movements for animal protection and environmental stewardship. Goodall's voice, calm yet fierce, became a moral compass for generations fighting to preserve the planet. She leaves behind a legacy as enduring as the wild she spent her life defending.
Yeah, and I like to see her when she was in her lane. When she went outside of her lane, she was kind of a globalist, but when it came to chimpanzees, science and research, she was very good. I grew up on her, so she was from my time, and she was one of the big primary researchers that they made a lot of documentaries on. When I seen that she died, I said, I got to throw it in here.
Yes. And with her specifically, I think because a lot of people say, oh, conservatives don't care about the environment, they don't care about the earth, blah, blah, blah. But part of conservatism is conserving and wanting to preserve spaces, wanting to, for example, start good farming practices that are not used nowadays by the big conglomerates, and understanding the importance of having that human animal connection as well, and conserving that and keeping that. So it annoys me that because we and other people criticize the whole climate change and zero emissions and all of that stupidity, it doesn't mean that we don't care about the environment. It's that you care in a different way and you see past
we don't want
propaganda.
We don't want to virtue signal off of the environment and consolidate power and implement controls over citizens, their sovereignty and their freedom. This environmental thing has been weaponized to such a degree, it's absolutely ridiculous. Conservatives absolutely care about the environment. We just don't want to weaponize the environment against humanity to give power to the elite. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I had to jump in there on that.
But I said against propaganda. Do you want to watch the video?
Yeah, let's see it. Actually, I hadn't seen the video. I just grabbed it because I seen she had passed away.
We need to recognize at the outset that what we do to animals, from their perspective, certainly, and probably from ours, is morally wrong and unacceptable. And that it's really important to follow through all these exciting new leads into ways of doing research without using animals.
Jane Goodall, the conservationist famous for her groundbreaking chimpanzee field research and global environmental advocacy, has died at age 91. While living among chimpanzees in Africa decades ago, Goodall documented the animals using tools and doing other activities previously believed to be exclusive to humans. Her observations transformed how the world perceived not only humans closest to their biological relatives.
Yeah, and I remember watching a lot of her work in IMAX theater before IMAX was a thing, and this was in Vancouver at the Science World. The IMAX there, if you are ever in Vancouver, check out the Science World because it's a little bit different. It's a curved IMAX that actually goes right around you. I have a fear of heights a little bit, and when I'm in that theater, man, it really feels like you're falling into the screen. It's completely different than watching something on a flat screen. That being said, everything that's played on that theater is a documentary, so Jane Goodall was typically played there a lot.
But also the emotional and social complexity of all animals. The Jane Goodall Institute announced the primatologist's death Wednesday. A spokesperson for the institute said she will be remembered as a tireless advocate for the protection and restoration of our natural world.
And differently than what the left usually does, regardless of the later positions she took in life and of other things that have popped up that I won't mention, let's just recognize her work for now. Let's just mourn and grieve that she is gone and understand that she did do a lot for the environment, etc. And then you can start talking about all the other stupid stuff later.
Yeah, when I disagreed with her, we brought it up on the show before, but now's not a time to kind of bring that stuff up. She was a good scientist overall. So, okay, let's go into the next story here.
So from Tim Pool, who is right now at TPUSA headquarters in Arizona doing his show there, from Timcast News, there are 6,000...
Oh, you got my shirt?
Oh, yes. You wore that the other day. There are 6,000 patriots being assembled in Utah right now, as Jack Posobiec says. Even in the face of left-wing terror, Americans are showing up to support freedom.
Okay, let's play the clip and see what he had to say here.
Tim, please don't copyright strike us.
Well, no, Tim's already said you can use any clips of his you want at any time.
Okay.
And he gives free use to every content creator.
Thank you, Tim.
I'm being told there are 6,000 patriots assembled in Utah right now.
Let's go.
And by the way, we should, just to contextualize this, this is the first Turning Point event that's been held in Utah since Charlie was murdered in Utah at a Turning Point event. So this was going to be his second stop. So what we're doing is we're continuing Charlie's tour, but with guest speakers. And I think the vice president came out earlier today and said that he is interested in being one of those speakers.
Wow.
Don Jr. is interested. I mean, the level is just phenomenal. And rather than, and a lot of people would say, like, why didn't you cancel the tour? And I think, and I speak for everybody here in the sense that we've talked about this and we know Charlie wouldn't want us to. And so you see the response, you see 6,000 patriots, even in the face of a bomb threat, even knowing that there was a murder just a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I think it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow, that, however many miles away in the same state.
Pause it there. And I kind of brought up that clip to bring up the discussion of this is really the turning point for the conservative and political movement. They aren't going to stop, especially with these turning point events. So many people are going to come out. They can actually afford security for it, especially with all the donations pouring into TPUSA. So they're going to have people looking for people on roofs, things like that, personal bodyguards. They're going to have a ton of security. We've seen Steven Crowder also go out with a ton of security.
Yes, he published his first Change My Mind in 3 years because he had stopped doing it.
Not the same energy as before, but it's good to just see conservatives out there and say, we are not going to back down. We're not going to take one step back. When you do political violence, it doesn't scare us. It makes us double, triple, and flipple down.
And that was a clip from a few days ago, actually. That event in Utah happened a few days ago. But in the past 2 days, there have been attacks on I wouldn't even say conservative journalists, but independent journalists that are on the ground at ICE facilities where Antifa has actually gone up against them. One is Cam Higby, and we'll look at these clips in a bit, but I did think mentioning this as well is important, and the whole Charlie Kirk effect as well. I was watching Isabel Brown today while we waited for the people that eventually destroyed our wall. She was saying that, funnily enough, now even on TikTok, apparently there's this trend of doing conservative, like, political pundit thirst trap. So, like, there's a thirst trap for Ben Shapiro, there's a thirst trap for Michael Knowles, and also, for Charlie Kirk as well.
Yeah, and I will say this, now that
So the culture is changing.
Now that this has happened to TPUSA, there is a focal point to move forward with the conservative movement. Charlie Kirk's show and TPUSA for rallies are really going to be tip of the spear. It has the funding and it has all the other conservative figures kind of rallying around it rather than dividing and causing fissures within the movement. The conservative movement is really coming together, and especially with the midterms coming up in about 1 year, this is going to be huge. If Donald Trump gets the 60 votes he actually needs so he can do things through Congress rather than executive order, the second half of his term is going to be so epic. It may be one of the greatest presidential runs we've ever seen. So far, he's had to do it through executive order because he only has 58 votes in either the House or the Senate, and he needs 60.
And we also did see him, there's more clips coming out of him speaking to the generals and what are they called, admirals?
Yeah, the generals.
All the top brass of the U.S. military. And it also seems like there is a very clear change in direction also within that. So from Clandestine says, it's 100% happening. Trump said the military's core mission is supposed to be defending the homeland, not policing the globe. He then said, we are under invasion from within by a uniformless domestic enemy. Trump is going to use the U.S. MIL to save the republic.
Yeah, and I think he wants to clean up the United States, bring it back to its former glory. And I also think he's going to want to focus in on Canada, Mexico, Central and South America. I think he's looking at the entire hemisphere before he secures the rest of the hemisphere. He's going to want to really fix the United States first, put America first, and follow through on that promise. Yeah, China has been backing out of South America. It seems like there was a deal made behind the scenes where China would pull a lot of their sphere of influence out of South America and America would kind of move in there. I'm wondering if America is going to, in return, move out of another part of the world, possibly Southeast Asia.
Homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly. Defending.
Some of them do have uniforms, be it Black Bloc or the other people.
Yeah, well, these radical riots that are starting to pop up, it looks like he's going to quell that dissent fairly quickly so BLM doesn't happen again like it did in his first term where it did $16 billion worth of damage U.S.-wide according to insurance statistics. So he understands if he can quell these things early, quell them often, and figure out who to kind of arrest and throw in jail because it's usually a few bad apples that constantly organize and cause crime after crime. Okay, let's go into the next article here.
Oh, ow. You always do that when I'm trying to fix the dog. Let me just read first what Rafa says. He says, will there be a VIP live today? We'll just do the last few stories over on RUMBLE. And he also says, by the way, you two look awesome. Thank you. This is what waking up at 7 a.m. gets you.
We were exhausted and I just threw the suit on really quick and we just kind of went on and we're really close to getting to 500 subscribers. And over the next 2 weeks, since things are going to be so sporadic, I just really want to make an effort to at least do the English, something on the English channel Monday through Friday.
And for the Spanish one, I just wanted to wait because it is a pretty long interview that I want to react to, and I'd rather do it properly than
we got on really late for the English, so we have to wake up early again tomorrow to go to the studio. Okay, let's go into the next story here.
So there is something happening with Netflix. A lot of people canceling their accounts, and it's not just this, but also a lot of things that people have continued to find. I am still surprised so many people had Netflix after the whole cuties scandal, but I won't get into that.
Over the last few days, Netflix has been outed through
They'd already been
hundreds
outed.
of posts. I didn't know how many shows they had supporting the lesbians, gays,
The alphabet
non-binary,
community.
you name it, they got it, and it's all in children's content, which is absolutely insane.
But
Yes-
it is
ye-
expected.
Yesterday we were featuring some clips from Jurassic Park. Today it's these two fathers here.
So it says OMG Coco Melon Lane. I'm guessing it's probably related to Coco Melon. Show for children showcases a little boy in a dress dancing for his two gay dads. Why does Netflix have so many shows pushing LGBTQ propaganda on children? We know why.
That we know about you. You love to get up and dance. How about you break out those moves for your two biggest fans?
And of course, it has to be, the interracial couple as well. Not just gay. It has to be a race element in there too. And the kid kind of looks Asian.
I don't
as
know
well.
if the kid's trans either, so
I think it's like an adopted kid, and then they're trying to get him to be trans or whatever he wants.
No wonder he's confused.
If you're not sure what to choose, think about all the things you like.
Okay, that's good.
But hold on, no, but that's creepy. Like, if you don't know what to choose, think about all the things you like to do. Just be you, which means it goes completely into the whole transing argument, transing of children, which is, if you like to play with, dirt and wear pants and, be a tomboy, then you're not actually a girl. You're a boy because of just the things you like, because of stereotypes. If you're a more feminine little kid that maybe likes dolls for some reason, then that means you're a girl, which is completely not true. And that's not the way it works. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you can keep going. You seem to enjoy it.
I'm not enjoying it. I wanted to explain that part.
When you're trying to decide, think about all the things you like to do. Just be you.
Just being them.
Well, I wanna
if you're
say-
a boy, then you're a boy. That's all who you are. It doesn't matter what you like to do or you don't like to do. You're still a boy. And
Well-
that's the confusion that is seeping into children.
And when you look into the history of Netflix, it's very interesting because Sigmund Freud was really the grandfather of propaganda, and his direct descendant is actually the one that runs Netflix. So it's very interesting. Netflix and Elon Musk is kind of pointing this out. It's a lot more. There's a lot more going into Netflix than people see on the surface necessarily. This is not necessarily an organic boycott. It's coming from the right. It's coming directly from Elon Musk. But Elon Musk is doing a great job right now kind of exposing this, or doing the first round of exposing this. And now people are starting to get behind him. If this thing snowballs a little bit more, you're going to see the stock price drop even more than it already has.
Well, it wasn't Elon Musk. Elon Musk found out because so many people were showcasing it, but because his voice is obviously way bigger than everybody else's, then it gets heard way more than everybody else's. But from Market Watch, does Elon Musk's call for Netflix boycott signal a new front in the culture wars? And again, it's this whole new era we're entering very clearly now. Musk urged his ex-followers to cancel Netflix subscriptions over a show he says pushes the trans agenda, although it's not clear if such a move would have any impact.
And I will say this: I have been heaping a lot of praise on what is his name? The guy that runs Paramount Plus, Ellison, Larry Ellison. Now I understand he's involved with the CIA, Oracle, and Elon Musk is involved with him. So are they trying to cancel Netflix to get people to come over to Paramount Plus and maybe a government-run organization as well? I don't know, but it seems like all these big streaming services have a lot of government backing behind them, and there is alternative motives to all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say this, I do like the culture Larry Ellison is bringing Paramount Plus right now. I might not like all the connections he has. That being said, at least he is going in the right direction, and he's not trying to trans the kids, at least to the degree that Netflix seems to be.
Yes, so should we just see how much it went down? So Netflix shares fell 2.3% on Wednesday, and Netflix spokesperson did
That's a lot for a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yes.
So
So Musk's post triggered thousands of responses in support of such a move, although it was not clear if it would ultimately have any significant impact on Netflix's subscriber base. And the thing with a lot of the boycotts, especially on the right, is they'll say, oh yes, I'm canceling, I'm never using it again, and then they just resubscribe whenever there is something they want to watch or want to do so.
And I would just like to say this about the boycott. As far as Netflix goes, yeah, it's great to boycott it, and their stock price is going to fall. And then if they start moving in the right direction and they hear what the customer base actually wants and they stop trying to put all this propaganda in kids' content, I completely agree with signing back up, rewarding them to kind of let them know when they're doing the right thing. So,
and what actually works in a actual marketplace of ideas that goes beyond what they want to push on kids and on everybody.
Well, and it sends a signal not only to Netflix, but all the other streaming services as well. Do you want to be next for the boycott?
And I mean, they already saw what happened with Disney too. So
And Bud Light.
yes. But also from Ford, from Ryan Girdison, Ford CEO, the $70,000 EVs with $3,000 batteries, that is not the future.
$30,000 batteries.
I don't know how to read numbers, especially at this time. Oh, hold on. Let's just grab Rafa's message before, because I think it makes more sense for the other one. Rafa says, that's why I've been getting DVDs and even VHS. I don't want my kid to be in contact with that crap. I even purchased a Nintendo 64, and that's exactly it. Especially Rafa's going to be a new father, and I do recommend everybody to get physical media. I keep saying that, and that is very important because even with digital media that you might think is safe, they can always go in and change things after or remove things that are problematic, as we have seen Disney and other companies do, both with books and with media.
Well, and we've been talking a lot about digital ID, especially with digital ID and all of the content being streamed through online sources like oh God, what's the video game company? Steam. Through Steam and things like this. They're able to boycott or cancel people off of Steam or change their content, things like this. So if you actually have physical media, they're not going to really be able to punish you and steer you or your children in the direction that they want.
Mm-hmm. But now let's go. Oh, sorry. I had Rafa's messages there. First, let's go into what Ford is saying, finally.
Will Ford strive?
1 second.
Even if it's
And Ford just moved one of their plants out of Canada and back to, I believe it was Indiana today. So good on them that these companies are starting to get the hint. Canada is dying economically. The government is headed in the wrong direction. They are not business friendly. And Donald Trump is doing everything he can to welcome business back to the United States. And it's going to send a message to other Western countries. Hopefully, at least their citizens can see that their governments have completely betrayed them in Canada, the EU, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. I mean, I can go on and on. Okay, let's play this clip.
2050 to be all EV? Is that the future, or what kind of decisions do you have to make now about what Ford is?
1.5.
Well, we have to make those decisions now. You're absolutely right. We're a 5 to 10 year outlook company. Our products take that long to develop. Look, Ford has never made a statement about being all electric. We are number 3 in hybrids. 30% of all F-150s, the best-selling vehicle in the United States, are hybrid now. We invested in hybrid. We never stopped investing. We never saw our country being all electric or all combustion. That makes no sense. Customers in the U.S. are really smart. We want to offer them a range of vehicles. We will offer an affordable EV for city use. We've been number 2 to Tesla for 3 years on the EV side, and we learned a lot from the EV cycle. These $70,000 EVs with $30,000 batteries, that is not the future. We think E-Revs, hybrids make a lot more sense. And if you're towing a Super Duty, for your job, you're not going to want an electric vehicle, maybe not even a hybrid. So we need to offer people a range. And what we like about the government now, their position is, look, why don't we sell a more reasonable electrification footprint like hybrids at a natural demand? I think that makes sense for Ford.
Okay, no, it's very interesting. Ford's jumping ship now. They're going one direction and then the other. He wants to say that the future of Ford was never EV. That's not what they were saying just a few years ago. And I'm glad to see that they're jumping ship because I think the future of cars may just be EV. And I know I've said the opposite a lot, but now looking back into this technology, batteries may go sodium. And if batteries go sodium, they're much more not only cost effective, but reliable when it comes to charging, manufacturing, and other things. So the prices of batteries could come way down. They're not using rare earth minerals potentially in these new batteries. If that's the case and battery technology changes, I think car companies then would want to take a second look at EVs, where EVs were over the last few years, they were guaranteed to bankrupt the company. But if these batteries change to sodium batteries and they're everything they are hyped to be, having a diverse platform is really the right way to go. Toyota was really the only company that said, no, we're going to stay diverse and we're going to manufacture not only EVs, but gas-powered vehicles, because a lot of countries don't have the infrastructure for EVs.
And also, it goes back to the same thing we were saying about with the whole environmentalism and Jane Goodall. Like, there are good ideas within it, but using it as propaganda and using it as a way to control populations and as just as an excuse, that's where the problem lies. Like in Canada, they wanted to make it, or still want to make it, mandatory to have EVs in a country where most of it is frozen most of the time and EVs don't work.
Well, they're using it as a power cudgel and a weapon. The government is over not only citizens, but mainly over businesses and corporations now, so they can get them to comply, bankrupt the ones they don't like, really pick the winners, pick the losers, and then go into a public-private partnership with these companies. So if the battery technology changes and these companies go on their own, I'm much more for it. I don't want to see the government interfering with these companies.
Mm-hmm. And Rafa says, that's the kind of diversity I do like. And speaking of diversity, and also maybe statements that were said a long time ago and the government shut down right now, where because the Democrats really wanted to give illegal immigrants healthcare, they decided to shut down the government to their detriment as well, because Trump has said what he plans to do with that. But let's see Nancy Pelosi demanding that illegal...
One moment. Yeah, so there is a government shutdown that is happening right now. So it's very interesting to see how the Democrats used to talk. This is a huge thing. They put a very reasonable budget through, and the Democrats are refusing to approve it because they want illegal immigrants to have health care. The United States has a huge national debt. They need American citizens don't even have unfiltered health care, but they want to put illegal immigrants above citizens themselves. We're going to go through this story in about 3 different segments here.
The undocumented are not allowed to receive benefits from this initiative. It was clear in the first bill. It's even clearer in the second bill. There's a cap on who can receive it, stronger language as to undocumented. No illegal aliens, to use your term, I prefer undocumented, are able to get benefits. The undocumented are not allowed to receive benefits from this initiative. It was clear in the first bill. It's even clearer in the second bill. There's a cap on who can receive it, stronger language as to undocumented. No illegal aliens, to use your term, I prefer undocumented.
Okay, that's good. I think okay.
She looks a bit better, but she still sounds as drunk as she does today.
Well, that being said, it's going to be very interesting what happens here, because Donald Trump is going to use this to clear out the government. He's already said if it goes to shutdowns, he's going to start firing government workers. He's going to start closing down entire branches of the government and things like this. So this is going to really hurt the Democrats and allow Donald Trump to deliver on his promises and continue what he was doing with Doge. He can only cut so much of the government with Doge. This gives him a totally new set of weapons. So I'm glad to see a government shutdown in the United States.
And let's see it from the post-millennial, because all the other news sources are trying not to blame the Democrats. But they say Schumer's shutdown, J.D. Vance slams New York senator for allowing government shutdown. Donald Trump and the Republicans have barreled us into a shutdown because they refuse to protect Americans' health care. It's not because they refuse to protect Americans' healthcare. And as a Mexican, I'll say proudly, I mean, here, if you're American, or any other nationality, you don't get free healthcare.
The only sticking thing is the Democrats wanted $1 trillion to cover illegal immigrants' healthcare needs. So they want to give every illegal immigrant healthcare. Every American citizen doesn't even have health care. The fact that you're putting illegal immigrants above American citizens in a time where the country is really cash strapped.
So, speaking in the Senate on Wednesday morning after the U.S. government went into a partial shutdown, Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer claimed that President Donald Trump and Republicans barreled us into a shutdown because they refused to protect Americans' healthcare. Vice President J.D. Vance told reporters that the country went into a shutdown because Schumer is listening to the far-left radicals in his own party because he's terrified of a primary challenge.
One moment, and let's just see what happened to Canada, to the UK, to the EU, when they were offering all these benefits of putting illegal immigrants in hotels, giving them five-star accommodations with food, giving them healthcare, giving them tens of thousands of dollars cash in hand. This just makes more immigrants want to come. Word gets back to their home countries and you get inundated. You need to cut off the services to illegal immigration to ward off future illegal immigrants.
And because the Democrats are trying to give illegal immigrants healthcare benefits, he claimed that the continuing resolution that would fund the government is partisan and fails to protect Americans' healthcare and does nothing to fix the healthcare mess that they created, according to Chuck Schumer. But Vance took aim at Schumer, saying, I think a lot of Americans are asking themselves, why did this happen? Why did the Democrats shut down the government despite, as Caroline said, voting on the exact same piece of legislation 6 months ago? And there are a lot of different spins that we can put on it, a lot of different answers that we could give, all of them true. One answer I already gave is that they want to give healthcare benefits to illegal aliens. That is true.
Yeah, and they think this is really coming because they're trying to blackmail Trump's administration into doing what they want. But they're really playing a game of chicken. Who is the American people going to believe made this shutdown? Donald Trump already put a very reasonable proposal up that the Democrats already voted for 6 months ago. The Democrats are demanding $1 trillion for illegal immigrant health care.
And in 2019, from Christian Collins, every Democrat presidential candidate rose their hand in support for healthcare for illegal aliens. Today, Democrats are willing to shut the government over free healthcare for illegals.
Let's just play it.
They're always putting other people before Americans.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
And that is the peer pressure as well. Like, if one of them raises it, well, the rest have to raise it, otherwise they're racist.
Well, it's not even just the peer pressure, but the way they were flighting illegal immigrants into the United States, they thought that was their new voter bloc. What they didn't realize is that Hispanic Americans and other groups that were low income, that really affected their communities the most. And we've seen record-breaking numbers for Trump in those communities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Also, with Trump, News Treason Channel 17 sends a plan shutdown. Let's see what happens. Trump's comments on the
Let's just play
shutdown.
the video here.
Okay.
That's kind of long.
1.5?
Yeah, 1.5.
Okay. 1 second.
And we're going to see Trump's reaction here.
The state of the Democrat Party when they have a 33% favorability rating on average in recent months, and they're willing to shut down the government over healthcare.
We're not shutting it down. We don't want it to shut down because we have the greatest period of time ever. I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested. So the last person that wants to shut down is us now. With that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that. But they want to have illegal aliens come into our country and get massive health care at the cost to everybody else, and we don't have it. And that's I would say, the number one reason that they want to strike is to get illegal immigrants health care. And, Gavin Newsom wants that too in California, and it's destroying California. We can't have that. We're not going to let it happen.
And yeah, he makes some very good points there. It's going to absolutely destroy the United States if you keep just giving all these handouts. They have to restructure the entire United States right now. That's what's going on with the tariff, possibly taking tax off tips, Social Security, and other things to really realign the American public with the government. It's at an all-time high of distrust, and it has been over the last couple of decades. If Donald Trump's able to take away income tax, that will be a big step in realigning the people with the government.
And also, the left continues to be as violent as ever, even after this, because, as I spoke about a few minutes ago, there have been attacks on independent journalists and people just trying to speak peacefully. From Ken Higby, a leftist decided to physically attack me at Union Station tonight. I deployed mace in self-defense, so at least he did something. And this is just they continue to say, oh, it's not us, it's both sides. Really?
Here's the light. Here's the light.
Oh.
Oh, that was great.
And if you don't know, Cam Higby has been going around multiple campuses, and he has been attacked multiple times now. He got, we actually watched it on Mikey Harlow's podcast. Not Mikey Harlow. We talked about it on Mikey Harlow's podcast, but he has been attacked several times now. But another journalist that also got attacked that works for the Post Millennial, if you don't know who they are, go follow them. They're a great source of news, by Jack Posobiec and Libby Emmons. But Katie Daviscourt was in Portland, and she got assaulted by an Antifa agitator outside the ICE facility that's been going crazy, and apparently nobody's doing anything about it. Suspect walked up, hit her in the face with a flagpole, swinging it like a baseball bat, and they haven't been able to fully find her, the person that did this, or arrest her
Okay,
even.
let's play the clip.
Don't hit. Oh, my God. She just was at the January 6th. She just hit me in the face. He was at the January 6th. Oh my God. She just hit me in the face.
No,
Kelly. No, it's time to go. She just assaulted me in the face. This one. We need to get her identity. We need to unmask her. Yeah, her.
She's 80 from her.
Call the police. Call the police. Call 911.
Where's the police?
Well, that wasn't that big of an incident, but yeah.
No, but this is I mean, now she is going and talking about it. Luckily, Jesse Waters had her on, and she did get a pretty bad black eye. And the problem is, they haven't been able to get the person that did it or anybody else. And it is also interesting, the dichotomy I always see with Antifa, where it seems like the women are the most violent ones.
Well, let's just say
in like
this.
physical altercations, but they're also the fattest ones.
Democratic states are trying to unmask ICE agents and create laws to unmask ICE agents, which are completely illegal because the state governments can't tell the federal government or federal officers what to do. So these new laws they're trying to make are just completely unconstitutional and can't be actually applied. That being said, the states need to start unmasking these protesters so we know who their identities are when they do get violent.
And let's see what she told Jesse Waters about it. There she is with her big black eye.
Wow, that is quite a...
Let me put it on 1.5. We won't listen to all of it.
Shine, are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I definitely have a black eye. So that's what it's been like covering Portland for the past 4 months. Complete lawlessness.
Wow. They say it's just one city block. Is that even true?
That's not true. So it went from being a war zone to one city block, but it's actually several blocks where that is completely controlled by Antifa-affiliated protesters who harass, assault, and threaten anyone who they perceive to be a threat to their cause, including journalists, local residents, and ICE agents. And the Trump administration is absolutely correct in deploying federal troops here because Portland police has completely abandoned this zone. They refuse to go in, and everyone that shows up is on their own.
So it's kind of like Chaz or CHOP was in Seattle. They just, I guess, secede this territory, cede it to Antifa, and they just let everything play out?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So last night I got assaulted and I immediately ran to a Portland police officer, hunted down the suspect, chased her through the streets and said, "This is my assault suspect. Can you guys finally do something?" And I had eyes on her for about 35 minutes. Portland police refused to come in and make an arrest. And I had 3 officers just standing there watching me try to hunt down the suspect. And imagine my anger when I go online after doing all of that about an hour ago. And I see Portland police put out a bolo asking for the public's help in identifying my assault suspect. So that is what it's like on the ground here in Portland. And it's time for a federal crackdown. The Trump administration needs to start treating Antifa like ISIS, the terrorists that they are.
And
Okay,
that's the thing, like the Portland mayor, the Portland people in charge of Portland keep saying there's nothing happening here,
Well, hold
everything's
on.
okay. And the police was scared to even go and try to
Well,
hunt
it's
down the
not,
suspect.
it's not just that they're saying nothing's going on and everything's okay here. It's that the mayor's actually marching with these protesters in the past with the BLM riots and everything else. So the mayor and all the people in power are actually on the side of Antifa here. This is why the federal government needs to come in, because the local government's refusing to do anything about it. And it's really causing a lot of panic amongst the citizens in Portland and Chicago. That being said, if you're not subscribed yet, please do so, because we're 3 subscribers away from 500, which is half
monetized.
Yeah, half partially monetized.
Speaking of subscribers, Walker says the new YouTube interface with that drop-down tab makes it harder to subscribe to channels. I haven't seen the new interface.
Oh, I don't
but
know.
I'll check it out. Please do so. Apparently now you have to go through a drop-down menu. And Walker also says there should be marches for the persecuted Christians here who are the religion of this side of the world, but there is proof of how artificial the left's marches
Yeah,
are.
and we've been talking about the prosecution of Christians the last few nights. We did a big expose on Nigeria and how 500,000 Christian Nigerians were killed by Muslims within that country. It's the biggest genocide currently going on right now. It's much bigger than Palestine, but it's getting zero coverage. And it's not just in Nigeria that these Christians are being prosecuted. Back where we were from before we left for Mexico, 200 churches were burned down in Canada that were independent churches because they're not government affiliated. The government's trying to take tax privileges away from Christian churches if they don't sell the government approved narrative of rainbow flags.
And speaking of tax and Canadian government and what is approved and what isn't, from Concerned Canadian, this dichotomy is so blatantly unacceptable and points to the skewed priorities of the government. So the Canada Revenue Agency has 58,000 employees, tax collectors, whereas the Canadian Army only has 33,890 active personnel.
Okay, let's play this up.
How many full-time equivalents are there right now for the employee count of the CRA?
How many employees? About 58,000 in the agency, about 58,000.
Army of 58,000 tax collectors. The Canadian Army has only 33,899 full-time active personnel. Your army of tax collectors is enormous, Minister, and we are seeing an alarming trend of write-downs and thefts. How many full-time?
And if you don't know about the Canadian tax system, it's extremely high, one of the highest in the world, and the government keeps inflating the taxes there. It's absolutely insane. You will own nothing and you will be happy. They take over half of your money in that country. So the fact that they have more people collecting taxes than they do in their military is absolutely insane, especially with the level of organized crime in that country. Street crime may not be as bad, but organized crime is extremely rooted within Canada.
And speaking of,
why don't we head over to RUMBLE now?
Okay, so
for the last few
for
stories.
Rafa, you have the VIP Live. So we're heading over to RUMBLE. Please don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. That does help us out a lot. We're almost to 500, and it would make our day or night right now. We'll see you over at RUMBLE in a second.
And I'm just gonna log into Rumble here.
You always say it before I
Well,
end it.
you need to end it quicker.
There's a bunch of buttons I have